Good morning. Hey, since we've seen you last, we've gotten another 4 inches of rain, but it's starting to dry up, and I think we've got a good week this week. So we've got a lot to do. We're probably just going to touch on all the things that we're going to do this week just a little bit and kind of go from one thing to the next, just to kind of give you an idea of the things that we'll have to do at this point in the season. So that's the plan. Thank y'all for watching. If y'all will subscribe to our channel, we'd appreciate it, and like our videos. Thank you. All right, what you just saw right there is we're putting out a fungicide in the hole where we transplanted the tomatoes. We do that one time at about this point, about a week or so after we plant them, as soon as we can get to it. And what we're trying to prevent is southern blight. Southern blight lives in the soil. This chemical does a pretty good job, but last year we had a lot of trouble with southern blight. It really kind of intensifies when it's real hot, like it was in 2022. I mean, it was 100 degrees probably on the 10th of June and didn't hardly let up all summer. Plus we were watering them, water under these beds because it was so hot. Combination of moisture and really high temperatures kind of brings out the southern blight. So I hope we don't have another problem this year. Last year was the first year we've had a problem in a long time. But that's what this chemical is supposed to prevent. So we'll do our tomatoes and our peppers with this chemical. Tomatoes and peppers are in the same family, so they both can get southern blight. So we'll do it, and then when we plant our peppers, we'll do them, and when we come back and plant our second tomatoes, second peppers, we'll do them the same way. You can do this by drenching your transplants in a drench kind of before you plant them, or even maybe run it through the drip tape, but this I think is better, and it kind of makes a little bit of a seal around the plant. It looks like the weather's going to be good enough this week for me to get my first purple hull peas planted. So what I'm fixing to do now is I treat my own seed. So we're going to be putting fungicide and an insecticide on the seed before we plant it. So I'm going to show you how we do that. All right, here's our seed treater. It does 150-pound bag at a time. So we've got the pink eye purple hull seed in here. All right, we're gonna turn it on back here. All right, this right here is my mixture of fungicide and insecticide. We're gonna pour it on the seed. It looks kind of like blue paint. You can see that it's mixing it up, and when we get through, all the seed will be blue. And what it does is that's a coating, like a systemic type fungicide and insecticide that'll give that little plant a couple weeks of protection when it comes up before we can start spraying it. It's just kind of like a little insurance is what it is. All right, we let it run for a couple of minutes, and you can tell that it's pretty much every seed is blue. That's what you want. All right, we just dump it into the bucket. One bag will be 2 5-gallon buckets. And then we just dump it back in here in the bag. You can see got blue seed. That's what you want. We put this bucket in here that we cut the bottom out of to help hold the sack open. Do this to all our pea seed, and most of our other seed that we plant already comes treated, but the peas don't. So that's why we do it ourselves. And we don't get too far ahead. We just do what we're gonna plant now, and then when we get ready to plant some more, we'll treat them again. That way you don't treat the seed too far ahead of time. All right, we are back out here on the hole punching tractor. We are punching the holes for the yellow watermelons. The yellow watermelons go at 36 inches instead of 24 on the red. We do that because we try to let the yellow watermelons have a little bit more room, so they'll get a little bit bigger. They're not naturally gonna get as big as the red, and so we try to give them a little bit more room. So that's why we do the 36-inch spacing. The variety is a yellow watermelon called 4456. Our old yellow watermelon that we used to plant was called Summer Gold, and it got bigger, but they discontinued that, and there's really not a whole lot of options out there for yellow watermelons that have seeds in them. Everybody's going to the seedless, which is the smaller personable watermelons, which that's not what we like to sell and not what our customers want. So all right, we're here the next day on Tuesday morning, and we're getting ready to spray all my little transplants, and I'm going to show you what we do it with. This is a rig that me and my dad built years ago, and we've used it for a long time, and it works good. What it's designed to do is to go over the stakes. You know, we don't have the stakes yet on the tomatoes, but at some point we will, and the stakes will be sticking up like that. And these nozzles spray out to the side. They spray this way, so it sprays the plant on both sides. We do 2 rows at a time. It'll go right over the tomato stakes. We pull it with a little Kubota. Now this morning I'm going to do all of the transplants, not just the tomatoes. Normally whenever the watermelons get up and growing, and same with the cantaloupes, we'll spray them with the big boom, and we'll spray overhead straight down. But while the plants are little, we spray everything with this sprayer because there's not a lot of surface area. You know, if you got your big boom stretched across here, you're mainly just spraying dirt if you're spraying down this way. So we wait until the watermelons and cantaloupes are kind of started running a little bit, and then we start spraying them overhead. But we always spray the tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, eggplant, squash. We always spray them with this. Right now we're just using 2 nozzles on each side pointed towards the row. And as the tomatoes get bigger, we'll add another one. Right now we've got this plugged up, stopped off. You know, but as the tomatoes grow, we'll add a 3rd nozzle there. We're putting out a foliar, fungicide, and insecticide on these little plants, and we'll have to do it now all the way until we're finished every 7 to 10 days. What we were doing yesterday when we were putting that fungicide in the hole, that's kind of a soil applied fungicide. That's different. But from here on out it'll be foliar, which means spraying on the leaves. All right, we also made the booms where you can fold them up. When I'm going back to fill up, I can fold them up because I need a little room there at the well. So this whole thing, it was out here, and now it folds up right here. We can lock it in up there. Hey, you might wonder too how I keep the spray drift off of me when I'm sitting in the cab here. Well, my rows run north and south. So if I have a north or south wind, I spray in the direction that it keeps it off of me, and then I just deadhead back. If I've got an east or west wind going across, then it doesn't really matter. So I don't ever get the drift on me sitting up here in the seat. But we keep the Kubota hooked up almost all the time, so we have the sprayer ready to go when we need it. All right, it's Wednesday morning, and I'm about to put out some insecticide through the drip tape through our water lines. It's a systemic type insecticide that'll be taken up through the roots. So we're going to put it down there where the root zone is. Even though we haven't planted everything on the plastic, we'll put it out over the whole plastic field in all of our zones. We just do this one time, and it just kind of gives a insecticide there, you know, by the root zone whenever the plants hit it. I'm gonna show you how that works. All right, the water zone. You want to make sure everything's pressured up good. We're gonna open up these two valves right here manually. All right, they're open. We've got a booster pump underneath this bucket right here. I'm gonna turn it on over here on the switch. All right, I don't know if you can hear it running, but it's running. All right, I've got my insecticide right here. It sucks it up right through that hose. Kind of meters it out and puts it right in the water line. This thing works on a vacuum. We've got a pressure gauge right here. Shows it's about a little less than 40. Right here, it's a little less than 80. It works on a pressure differential. So the pressure is higher here than it is here. And this little special deal right here allows it to suck up whatever you want it to do. Most of the time we're doing fertilizer this way. Like I said, this is the only time we really do insecticide. Whenever it gets time for fertilizer, we'll be doing this once a week. We know how much to put in each zone, you know, weekly. So you just kind of have to manually stand here whenever it's finished. You know, you cut it off on the switch and these two manual valves. The purpose of the booster pump right there is to kind of give a higher pressure to allow the pressure differential there when it's making the loop right there. So that's what allows the thing to suck up your material, and then it just meters it out evenly through the water. You know, whenever it's empty, you just turn all these off, but it just evenly distributes it however much time it takes. Once the fertilizer or insecticide or whatever you're injecting is finished for that zone, you want to make sure that you run water for at least probably 15 or 20 minutes after that, just to make sure there's not any fertilizer or insecticide still in the main lines. You know, you want to make sure that it's all evenly distributed throughout the field. All right, yesterday we got all of our yellow watermelons planted. If you remember, I told you it was 36 inches between each plant on the yellow ones. So we got all those done yesterday, as well as our first bell pepper and our eggplant, and I'll show you those. Here's the eggplant. They are at 18-inch spacing, and we just plant one planting of those. All right, this is our bell peppers. We put them 12 inches from here to here, but we double drill them, and you can tell they're alternated, like here to here to here. This is actually the first year that we've double drilled them. We usually single drill them, but this year I wanted to try to double drill them. Gives them a little bit more shade for sun scald and all. Bell peppers are bad about getting that. So we're gonna do all of our peppers double drilled. Today we're gonna get the tomato stakes done on the first tomatoes. The way we do it is we put a stake, 2 plants, and a stake, 2 plants, a stake, and so on. We put these T-posts on the end, and then every so often we'll put a T-post, you know, every 50, 75 plants just to support it a little more. But we use rebar and sucker rod. We've got some of both. You know, these are 5 foot long. Put them in the ground, they'll last forever. Years ago, we used wooden stakes, and they would break off, you know, just a little bit every year or two, and before you know it, you had a stake that was about half as long. So probably 10 years ago or more, we switched to going to all metal stakes, and it works so much better. And sometimes when the tomatoes get top heavy and you got a lot of tomatoes in the top and you get a storm that blows across, you know, the rows this way, those tomatoes would fall over with those wooden stakes. But we've never one time had an issue with the metal stakes. So metal stakes will cost you more up front. You know, we had to get them and cut them and all that, but like I said, they'll last forever. Got my big do-all, 8-row do-all hooked up, and we're fixing to get the first field of peas run over and get the seed bed prepared and try to get it planted later today. All right, this field that we plant first is over the levee. This is the only field that we do not irrigate of all the crops that we plant. That's why we plant it early. We usually don't have an issue with it. The peas will be from like right here, this way, and then this area all back in here will be my okra. So right now we're just getting the peas planted, hopefully today. We've got the planter hooked up, and we are planting purple hulls, pink-eyed purple hulls with my 8-row planter. This will be the first of hopefully 7 plantings of purple hulls. We normally do 5, but I've added some new ground this year, and we're going to split that new field up into 2, so I'm going to try to get 7 plantings probably every 10 to 14 days. So that's the plan. The majority of what we plant is the Louisiana Quick Picks, pink-eye purple hulls. That's what just about everybody wants. We do plant some Zipper Cream Crowders, but purple hulls around here in the South and Louisiana, it's like gold. So people love them, and so we sell most of them shelled, but we do sell some unshelled in the big sacks. Now, monitor will tell me anytime anything's wrong. If a chain comes loose or a pin comes loose or one of the rows gets stopped up or runs out of seed or anything, it'll beep at me. For many years we did the U-pick peas in addition to picking them ourselves and selling them, but we've kind of phased that out. A lot of the same people would come every year on the U-pick, and a lot of those people have gotten too old or passed away or just not quite as much demand as it used to be. And also we have more and more demand of people wanting them already picked, so we pretty much pick them all ourselves now. All right, we're all done on the first purple hull planting, April the 12th. All right, we're putting out the pre-emerge herbicide now right after we planted the peas. It'll have to have a rain to have it activated. This is really the only herbicide we could use on our purple hulls. We can spray over the top once the peas come up for grass only, but not for weeds. So we depend a lot on this pre-emerge. After that, all we can do is spray the grass, plow it, or hoe it. So it's kind of a challenge sometimes, but we do our best to keep it clean. Didn't mention the name of the pre-emerge herbicide in case anybody wants to know. Authority Elite is what we use on the peas, and it's about as good an option as we have. All right, it's Thursday morning and I just got through spraying the peaches. You know, remember I'm on that 7 to 10 day schedule from here on out on the insecticide and fungicide. And I'm about to go cut the grass there in the peach middles again. I think I'm gonna cut off the video now. I wanted to get a whole week's worth of info this week on the video, but I don't want to make the video too long. So we're gonna wrap it up, and I hope y'all are enjoying it, and I don't know, maybe learning something, or maybe seeing some things that maybe you didn't realize, you know, had to happen. But that's what we're doing. We're just showing you what we do. And a lot of it is the same thing over and over, but some of it is not. And anytime we get something that I think you haven't seen before, I'm gonna make sure that I get it on the video. So thank y'all for watching. See y'all next time.